2013 has been another record year for the mining sector, with significant increases in production being recorded for gold, diamond, and bauxite. Forestry has also seen a boost in exports, even as the country complies with its international carbon reduction obligations. I am Ernestine Leonard, and this week on Eldorado Shines, we will take a closer look at the performance this year of two key agencies under the Ministry of Natural Resources and the Environment. Those are the Ghana Geologian Mines Commission and the Ghana Forestry Commission. But first, let us take a look at the recent exchange in Parliament regarding the granting of permission for Geological and Geographical Survey, also called PGGS, to a company through the Ghana Geologian Mines Commission.
Minister, there's recently been some publication in the newspapers about mining licenses, leases issued in the area of the New River Triangle, or in the contiguous areas to the New River Triangle. Would you be in a position to state if, in fact, mining leases were issued for lands in that area or in those areas, and if so, what were the considerations for the issue of these leases?
As of 11:25 today, I'm advised by the manager of the Land Management Administration section, the GGMC, that no mining permit, license, or any permission be given for mining in the area that you have outlined. I want to make that categorical. What I do know, and I'm also being advised by the GGMC, is that there have been applications for persons to engage, and these applications are not being considered at this point in time until and unless we so have a policy direction of encouraging and allowing mining. The position of the government at this point in time is not to permit mining in that specific area, as you've so highlighted.
Thank you very much, Minister. Is there, though, any permission, leases, or anything for any activity other than mining, say, for example, forestry or forestry concessions issued for in that area?
I'm advised by the technical officer.
Expedition.
No, there's no, and I'm told by the staff there is no permitted forestry operation in that particular area.
It should be noted that PGGS, held by Murray Brazil Venture Inc., a Guyanese company, was done in keeping with the ISO certified procedures. Additionally, it should be noted that the PGGS is a property exclusive to exploration and does not include any mining and or profit-related activities. This is not related in any way to a prospecting license, mining license, or mining permit, all of which are also done in keeping with the Mining Act and its regulation. Favorable gold prices and access to lands have contributed significantly to the upsurge in gold production.
The gold produced to date is a little over 452,000 ounces, and this surpassed the 438 that was produced last year, and this is to date. So we probably expect another 10 to 12,000 ounces by the end, and this would give us our highest production of gold ever, even including what Omai was producing, during the time when Omai was producing. The diamond production was 56,000 carats of diamond, and this year is about 60% over what we had budgeted for. And this is predominantly by small and medium scale miners, both the gold and the diamond. So the sector, the capacity increased. We have more miners. The government made more land available for mining, and we see a lot of new investment. And the other benefits they were able to get is the duty-free concession of some of those equipment. So those kinds of things reduce the cost of mining, and a lot of other people went into this sector also. The bauxite production was also very good. I think we in some areas. Some of the quality, like the RSC bauxite was 85.5%. The chemical grade was 101.6%. So, and the overall, be exceeding the budget by 5.1%. So this sector now, bauxite is well on track. The stone declaration was 550,000 tons to date, and this this exceeded our budgeted figure by toward 7.8%. So in all, I think the mining sector continue to contribute to the GDP of Guyana in a significant way. And I would like to thank the miners, especially the small and mid scale, which continue to grow every year in the absence of a large scale mine. Well, gold continued to carry a real, although the prices slumped in the past couple of months. The price is still favorable, and it's one of the sectors that people feel very safe and secure in investing in. Instead of all the other business, gold continues to be one that have a bigger attraction because of the price, and then a lot more mining lands are easily accessible. This year, I think Geology Mines have spent $301 million on upgrading roads in the interior and things like that. So access means cheaper transportation and cheaper goods, and this will trickle down to the miners.
2013 has also seen the Ministry of Natural Resources and the Environment lead the effort to reduce the use of mercury in mining.
This year, the government of Guyana signed on to the Minamata Convention, which is literally saying that, look, we're going to take care of this mercury issue. We will try our best to reduce the use and consumption of mercury for mining and any other use that is normally done in Guyana with mercury. So on our end, what we're trying to do is to promote techniques that do not use mercury. And this is like the shaking table, the centrifuges, the jigs, and all the other equipment that can work without mercury. And this is our focus, and this will continue to be our focus until we get most of the miners, we get a buy-in from the miners to stop using mercury and go towards these mercury-free techniques. Well, we normally have joint operations with the Guyana Police, Tactical Service Unit of the police force. And, we take care of all the logistics and get them into those areas, and we do joint operations. We look for the mining issues, and they deal with the other security aspects of it. So there's a frequent collaboration between GGMC and the Guyana Police Force with the support of the Commissioner. And, this is the most we can do. The interior is vast. The operations are geographically scattered. And to have policemen all over it would just be an unrealistic task. It's just like having the same, we can't have mines officers all over. There's about 11,000 dredges, so much different claims and landings, and it is not possible. We get all the details from the Lands and Surveys Department, demarcating the Amerindian boundaries. And we would not issue any land in those boundaries. In fact, we have a system where persons who may have lands in that Amerindian title village are given an option to seek alternative lands outside of that for the same size. And we got this thing ongoing for a number of years now, just to ease the problems with people on the Amerindian villages, miners on the Amerindian villages. So our lottery was outside of the Amerindian village. So we're trying to set up a unit, we call it enforcement or a compliance unit, per se. This is different from the money laundering compliance unit. And they would monitor these operations via satellite images, and they will see exactly if persons are working on legitimate property or they're raiding, and we could deploy staff to make interventions directly. So the officer don't have to go to the field and looking for illegal operations. We will be able to do it from headquarters here. The other thing we're planning to do is extend our activities for the rehabilitation of mined out lands. And this deforestation is a big issue. As you know, mines, you must clear the forest to mine, to have a safe mine. But the problem is that when this forest is cleared, nobody actually fix it back or leave it in a state where it can recover naturally. And we would focus on some of those techniques available and promote it and demonstrate it to the miners. And we would do also some of our own tests and see what can work where and provide support for the miners in this regard. First, I would like to congratulate them on another successful year. The Guyana Gold and Diamond Mines Association and its members continue to do extremely well, and the other miners that are not a part of, they continue to contribute very satisfactorily to the GDP of Guyana. And to the miners out there, I urge you to try best practice techniques, try mercury-free equipment, try to rehabilitate the land, obey the Mining Act and regulations, and continue to be very productive.
(2013) has been a fairly good year in terms of production, in particular for the forestry sector of Guyana. As of end of November, we are well over 350,000 cubic meters of production in terms of logs, roundwood, lumber, etc. With that in mind, we expect to be well over 400,000 cubic meters for 2013. From the projections, we estimate that it will be at least 20% over the last year figure, which is very well for the sector in 2013. There have been a number of factors that have resulted in this. The weather pattern has been fairly predictable for 2013. A lot of production coming from communities, forestry concessions, and also at the policy level through the ministry and the board. There have been, a lot of direct intervention at the policy level to aid the industry in terms of the productive capacity of the sector. So for 2013, we are pretty happy with the level of production that we project towards the end of this year, which will be well over 400,000 cubic meter. And as I said, at least over 20% of the last year figure. Also, there is a lot of local demand for forest produce in terms of, we know the housing industry is continuously being expanded, so there's a lot of local consumption of building materials within the country. Export, while it has not shown the same level of increases like production, it has remained stable compared to last year. Agreement with Norway, they get a number of indicators that not only deforestation they will check. Indeed, the figure for deforestation for the last reporting period was around 0.079%, which was an increase from the previous reporting period. As I said, generated some interest. While we are not certain on the level of cuts, because it's come down to some sort of negotiation also with Norway and how the payments are being calculated, because as I said, it's not only based on the rate of deforestation. They have other, as we call, governance indicators that look at the overall forest management, look at the overall policies within the natural resources and the climate change policy. So when they'll take all that into consideration, then I believe they will arrive at a definitive value that the Guyana will earn for last year. So we don't want to be as I said, confirmed that this will be the level of payment for last year, and it will be cut because of deforestation. Because they look at other a range of indicators. They also look at what mitigation methods we would have put in place, to moving forward. So I don't think it's like a hard and fast rule that you reach this level, you get a cut. Having said that, though, the report has recently been verified by the independent auditors from Norway, and it will soon be made public, so the public will have a chance to. So while the rate, as we have noted, is about 0.079%, it's still within a very low range when compared within the Amazonian region or even worldwide. It's still below 0.1%, which is very very good for the country. And as some you would have seen also, while it may increase, there's been a lot of economic activity that has happened in the country in terms of forest-based communities, etc. And we don't see it that it will continually be increased in that manner. So in perspective, while it has shown an increase, we think it's very very low comparatively with other countries and comparatively worldwide, the rate of deforestation. And as we said, it's not an alarming figure in our opinion. Well, GIS technology are continuously being used more and more in terms of monitoring the forest cover, because for last year we used 5-meter resolution, high resolution rapid eye satellite images to do a scoping of the entire forest cover to get the deforestation and the degradation. So that technology within the Ministry of Natural Resources, we have integrated GIS as a laboratory that we continue to try to improve our GIS capacity, because not only forestry and mining and protected area, etc., is very very important. Using those GIS technology to map the forest cover to see what's happening within the forest, because there's only so much physical presence you can have on the ground. So through the ministry, they are placing a lot of emphasis on using GIS technology to monitor the forests and to see where, as they call it, hotspot activities are happening, and to, so they could have real-time information. So it helps with the real-time information in feeding back to the office with what's happening on the ground, instead of having continuous physical presence on the ground, which is important. But we need also the technology to, have real-time information to what's happening on the ground and to map the forest cover and what activity happening where, and so it's a technology that the ministry with all the agency are wanted to prime on their agenda using GIS technology. We will continue to work within the strategic vision of the Ministry of Natural Resources in terms of sustainable forest management to enhance the productive capacity of the sector, increase production, increase the value-added potential in terms of more downstream activities, enhancing our exports. We also have commenced negotiation with the EU on a voluntary partnership agreement. So we hope to advance that in 2014. So with that agreement, we're able to have more secure markets in Europe, because more and more these developed countries are sensitive with environmental standards. So this is one area that we're negotiating with the EU. So once we have that license, we'll be able to penetrate more of the European market. we'll continue with the forest area assessment in terms of satisfying the requirements under the MOU with Norway, and generally monitor investments within the forestry sector.
Did you know that the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission was created in 1979 from the Department of Geological Surveys and Mines, which itself was the successor to the Geological Survey of British Guyana?
I want to say that, we see there have been expansion. And in fact, I'm happy to announce that as of this morning, our gold production declaration was in the vicinity of, or in excess of 452,000 ounces. Our target, and we're still 10 days into December, our target for the entire year, 2013, was set at 451,000 ounces. So we've surpassed our target. Last year, our production was 438,000 ounces. In this regard. So we see that there's growth, we see that there's expansion, and we're happy too that we see there's increased declaration as we expect there's increased production in this regard. But the issue in terms of social and environmental responsibility is an area that we will be given renewed and even enhanced attention. And the question is asked that when people go into the mining areas, they see areas that are damaged, there's no land reclamation exercise taking place as much as it should. And we do hope that companies such as Guyana Goldfield will present itself as a model, as it were, would lead and would certainly inspire and support our efforts. We have a number of new initiatives which we will speak to at another forum in terms of how we intend to address this particular matter. But we do hope that we will get the type of support from Guyana Goldfields to support or small or medium, and even some of the other existing mining operations, not only in gold, but in other areas in terms of doing the necessary rehabilitation and giving the emphasis, as it were, on sound environmental management and protection. Our mining sector or gold industry is at a crossroads. And we have to also think about reforming and also think about evaluating. And I want to say that we are in that mode as it stands. How do we reform the sector as a whole, looking from the legislative standpoint, looking at the regulatory agency, which we've done some work, to ensure that it is geared and it has the right size in dealing with this issue. And I want to say that this is an issue that has engaged the attention of the Cabinet, has engaged the attention of the subcommittee of the Cabinet and Natural Resources, and even has started some discussion at the level of the Natural Resources Sectoral Committee of the National Assembly. Because if we talk about reform, if we talk about making changes, at the end of the day, we have to ensure that we involve stakeholders as you are seeking to do here today. And it is our intention to ensure that we establish a broad-based panel to look at the various reform initiatives that we need to consider, we need to study, and we need to pursue in this regard. Because if we are not up to date and if we are not prepared, as it were, not only for today's challenges and opportunities, but also in the future, I think it will be severely lacking on our part in terms of fulfilling our responsibility. But I'm not trying to scare the investor, because I'm looking at Violet's face and she's trying to read what I mean about reform. The commitments that we've made consistent with the mining license, and so we're not talking about reforming those, we're talking in terms of reforming the management of the sector and how it is that we can ensure that the governance aspect of the broad natural resources and environment sector, but particularly mining, that we take into account some of the pressing challenges and some of the pressing issues. Going forward too, we have to also look at diversification in terms of utilizing our resources. And as a nation, we've always been talking about the rich potential that we have. And we need to unleash the potential, especially in terms of developing and ensuring that our people and our country benefit from our resources. But we would not be able to do that if we sit on them and watch around. And that is where, in terms of giving incentives to both local, as well as creating an enabling environment for foreign investment is also important. And I want to speak to that issue because it seems as if every time there's an effort made to ensure that we attract some form of investment to move development forward, there are probably segments and elements in our society who take that to mean sell out, buy out, give out, or whatever terminology that is used. And our country will not be able to develop if we do not offer the enabling environment for local, as well as we live in a globalized world, to allow foreign investment to come in. And I want to stress that because sometimes due to lack of information and sometimes just out of sheer political mischief, there are sometimes attempts to misrepresent. And our government, we've made it absolutely clear that we're open for investment, local and foreign, we're not going to discriminate, but to create the necessary arrangements and facilitation so that our resources can be developed in a sustainable way, but in a way that it brings tremendous benefits to our people.
Did you know that gold is found in every continent and it can be mined on all of them except Antarctica?
Welcome to Guyana, the gateway to South America. A pristine haven of abundant natural resources. We are a nation born in sacrifice and enriched by our togetherness. When we play, we celebrate every effort. When we celebrate, we salute more than success. We exude our right to move forward.